All right, let's make our own sourdough starter from scratch. I have this jar here with a rubber bottom. I have half a cup of all-purpose unbleached flour.
That's Mama.
Yeah, I have a little helper. So we're going to start by adding half a cup of flour and half a cup of room temperature water here. Then we're going to just go ahead and mix this up really well. Some recipes call for a fork, some say a spoon. I like a fork for this one. We're going to give it a try and see. I've had my own starter from my family it's been our family for 75 years and it traces back over 200 years. So I'm excited to make my own and see how it holds up. All right, so get it nice and mixed up till it's nice and smooth. All that texture there. It's a little bit lumpy, so I'm gonna just do a few more swirls. All right, keep all the good stuff in the jar. Then I'm gonna go ahead and put on a nice little cover here. You can use saran wrap. You can always do this in an old mason jar and an old salsa jar too. And I'm gonna set it here, which is right on top of our dishwasher. That's running, so the heat will come up and it'll get the heat for the day. And we'll check in tomorrow and see how it goes. All right, day 2. I've been sitting overnight here. You can see there's a little bit of humidity in there. You can see some of the edge. Let's go ahead and peel off our cover and take a look inside. All right, you can see some bubbles. If you don't see those, it's all right, but there's a little bit of bubbles getting started. So today, we just check on it and we leave it. See you tomorrow. All right, day 3. Just a little workout. If you have the crazy hair, I just realized how bad it was, but that's okay. So let's see where we're at. It's very, very bubbly. It's a little bit dark in color. Sometimes you might have some liquid on top that's called the hooch. That is okay. That's part of the fermentation. You want to see that. It might have a little bit of a smell to it. That's also okay. That's what you want to have. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to scrape the sides real good with this. Give it a nice little stir. All right, set that to the side. Then you want to take about half of it and put it in another jar. You can use just an old mason jar, old salsa jar. Right now it's super liquidy, so I'm going to just pour it. But as it gets thicker, if yours is a little thicker, you can use a spoon. You can measure the weight if you want to. I'm just going to kind of eyeball it, especially at the beginning. It doesn't need to be that precise. And then I'm going to put in half a cup of flour, half a cup of room temperature water. All right. And then we'll stir it up again. Give it a little extra stir there. All right, and that's a little more liquidy than I want. It's like super, super liquidy there. So I'm gonna go ahead and just grab another half cup of flour. Okay, so I just loosely filled up my cup of flour. I'm gonna add in, I think that's about a 1/4 cup, and mix it in. And I will, let's see, I don't think I can flip it, but you can kind of see that texture is getting a little thicker. I'm just gonna go ahead and add all this in. It's very liquidy. I want that to be, and it's probably because I'm in a super hot, humid climate, but I want that to be more of like a batter texture, you know, like pancake batter, like a kind of looser pancake batter than to be too liquidy. And then you just stir it out till the lumps are gone. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. All right, and then we'll just go ahead, drop that in there, leave this here. Make sure you leave it in a warm area. Mine here is on top of the dishwasher, so it stays nice and warm. And we'll check back in tomorrow. All right, here we are, day 4. Look at all those bubbles there. It's still pretty liquidy on top. You can kind of see they're separating with that hooch on top and the stuff underneath. So we'll just go ahead and give it a nice stir here. All right, stirring it up. Let's see, I'll show in there. It's pretty liquidy. I'll go ahead and, I'm just gonna go ahead and leave that instead of taking a half out this time. Well, I don't know, I'll pour about half out. It's still really liquidy. Eyeball about half there, there we go. Then I'm gonna put half a cup of flour, 1/4 cup of room temperature water. And stir it up. Get the bits on the edges there. Oh yeah, that's getting thicker. We're getting closer. I think with how warm and humid it is here, I really need to be using more flour in the beginning. I have not made it yet in such a warm environment. I'm from a very dry climate originally. So this is all new for me. We got that mixed up there. Take a look at this. That's starting to look really good. Kind of that thicker texture there. Nice and lumpy and chucky. It still smells a little bit of that fermenty smell, but it even has a little bit of that sweet smell. So I know we're headed in the right direction. Go ahead and make sure it's mixed up nice and good. Mix, mix, mix. Then we'll put that topper on and we will check back in tomorrow. Day 5. Whew. All right, let's take a look. She's definitely got a little smell, which is good. Fermenting, getting the yeasts going. All right, there's a look. Got a little bit of that hooch on top, which is what you want to see. We're literally pulling yeast from thin air into our dough here. A little bit liquidy, but bubbly. Still early. I think we're all right. So I'm gonna go ahead and add my 1/2 cup of flour. And go ahead and move this. Make it a little easier. 1/2 cup of flour there. And 1/4 cup of room temperature water. Stir it up. I could have removed half. I did not. I think that's okay. Look at how thick that's getting. It's a really good color. I like to see that color. Once you have a mature starter, that's the color you're gonna see with those bubbles. I think we're getting good progress. All right, stir it up real good. Whew. Yeah, there we go. That flour's thickening up. I think here I definitely need to do that 1/2 cup of flour, 1/4 cup of water. That ratio makes it much, it's still pretty liquidy, but each day we're getting closer to sort of that battery texture that we want. Alrighty. Scrape it off there. I love the edges of this because it makes it so easy to scrape it off, but not be yucky on the outside. And there we are. We'll see you tomorrow. Hey, 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 day 6. Let's see how we're doing with this beauty. I'm pretty excited. She's been looking good all morning. Ho, ho, ho. Now that, my friends, is starting to look like sourdough starter. Look at that. How beautiful is that? All right, so first of all, mix her up.
Hey, Mama, can we?
Okay, so here it is. I'm gonna put about half of this in here. And honestly, that is almost like, I could probably make something with that, with a sourdough discard recipe.
I'm
just eyeballing this one here.
Can I be in the video?
Right. Next one, baby. I have some helpers today. All right, so we're gonna put in 1/2 cup of flour and 1/4 cup of room temperature water. Then we're gonna stir this up.
Can the blue bean?
Stir, stir, stir. Am I actually getting that in there? There we go. Better filming today. Stir it up. Yep, look at that. That is starting to look like batter. She's bubbly. She doesn't quite smell sweet, but it doesn't smell bitter anymore, which means we're getting real close. Oh, I'm gonna have to use both hands to hold this and mix.
Hey, Mama,
but
you look orange.
there we go. We almost have starter.
Mama.
All right, day 7. Let's see how she's looking. Ho, 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 ho. Look at those bubbles right there. Look at that. Oh, and it smells good. That sweet, sour smell. There we go. That is some pretty good sourdough starter. It's got that battery texture. It's got the bubbles. It's got the right smell. We're going to keep going to get it mature for about a week, another week, and then it won't take nearly as long. Thank you. Got my little helper with me today. They're on the table, sweetheart.
Good.
Put about half of it in here. There we go. still a little bits here and there. You could maybe cook with it, maybe not. But I'm gonna keep going for a few more days just to make it help it get mature and really good. So, half a cup of flour, quarter cup of room temperature water. Gotta go get a spoon. Mom duty never ends. All right, let's get it mixed up. Mix, mix, mix. But I think we're doing well. Like the texture. Usually when I'm cooking, I'll take the starter out and put it in with 2 cups of flour, and then I mix in the water until it looks about this temperature. Leave it overnight, and then you have whatever you want to make in the morning. Unless you're making bread, then I do that in the morning, and then at night I can leave my bread roll to rise all night. Oh yeah, that's looking thick. All right, I'm gonna mix this up good with both hands, and I'll see you tomorrow. Good evening, day 8. Something really cool happened. She rose and fell. We officially have some sourdough starter. Pretty exciting. So go ahead and open this up. Let you take a look, of course. See all those bubbles. It's falling flat right now, but has that sweet smell. Since it's fallen flat, I'm not going to discard today and just add everything in. And it's late. So I got my half a cup of flour and my quarter cup of water here. All right, go ahead and stir, stir, stir. Show that mixing in. It's got that sweet smell that's just slightly sour, just like sourdough should smell. Nice and thick. You can see it's just like pancake batter, which is just what you want to see. Maybe even a little bit thicker now. But we're going to do this for a few more days to help keep it mature and keep it rolling and keep working together on making this sourdough starter. So we'll leave it overnight, get it going again, and I'll see you tomorrow. Day 9, and I have some fun plans for our discard today. Oh, she's smelling good. Look at those bubbles. She rose up and back down a little bit, but it's looking good. Nice healthy starter here. Got that crinkle crinkle. So I'm gonna do something a little fun. Oh, I just love that smell with our discard today. So I've got my cup that I'm gonna keep our starter growing. Put in half a cup of flour. And if you've been following along by now, you know the drill. A quarter cup of room temperature water. And I'm gonna stir that up. Okay, and I just wanna show, really scrape the sides here, these edges, and get the corners. That's why I love this kind of flat spatula. You can really dig down deep in those corners and stir it up and give it a good hearty stir to make sure there's no any of that residual starter in the corners that might have a little bit of that back to that kind of that fermentiness going on. Before it got that sweet smell, any of that extra flour, make sure that you give it a really, really good stir as it's getting this thick. I can show you nice and thick there, which is fantastic. All right, and then we'll go ahead and scrape that off. I'm gonna have to clean this bad boy here pretty soon. Put this back on for tomorrow, and now for our discard. Look at those bubbles. All right, I got a little bit of butter heating up. I'm just gonna go ahead and pour this cup of discard straight on to the skillet. And wait, then you can kind of start to see it bubbling on the sides and those big bubbles there. Slip it down there. Ah! Not the most perfect flip, but there you have it. And you have a nice flat little piece of sourdough discard bread. You could use this to make a pizza on. You could use this as a little tortilla, or just rip it off and have it as little pieces of bread with your dinner. So anyways, thanks for joining. Have a great day. Hey friends, day 10. You know what time it is. Sourdough. Look at that beautiful, bubbly, delicious starter. It smells so good. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and put about half in there. It rose so good this morning. It was up really, really tall. I posted a picture Beautiful. Half a cup of flour. And half a cup of room temperature water, straight from the tap. And go ahead and stir it up. I think we're getting really close to have it being mature enough that I'll transport it into a smaller container and put it in the fridge, but I'm gonna do this for 2 weeks, so 14 days, so sweet day 10, 4 more days, so we can see how it goes towards the end, and then we'll just check in on some different recipes and start using some of the other tools. But have you tried this? Let me know. I'd love to know. I shared a little bit about it, and some people said that they haven't had much success with it, so I don't know if it's because we're in a warmer climate here, or I just got lucky, or maybe it's the type of flour, but I'd love to know about some of your successes or challenges, learning opportunities with making sourdough starter. Until tomorrow. Day 11, you know the drill. I had a quarter cup of water, half a cup of flour. Mix it up, but there's what it looks like. That's 11 days. I think after about 2 weeks, we'll be able to just put it in the fridge until we're ready to use it again. Hey guys, day 11. Let's check it out. Look at those bubbles. Looking pretty good. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna make it a little bit smaller. I'm gonna do 1/4 cup of flour this time. I've got 1/8 cup of the warm water here to stir it up, just enough to freshen it up and keep it rolling, but without getting it too much stuff, because it's been growing out the sides. So that's been really exciting. Gonna be really delicious. I think just a few more days, and then we can put her in the fridge and just use her when we're ready. So I'll get it mixed up, and see you tomorrow. All right, friends, day 14, it's that time. See how we're doing? Bubbly, sticky, yummy. We officially have some good sourdough starter. So I've got a couple old jars here. I'm gonna go ahead and fill those up with the starter. It smells good. It smells like a pizza shop. I'll go ahead and grab this. Okay, so we've got 14 days. On day 1, we started with an empty jar, put in half a cup of warm water and half a cup of flour. And then day 2, we left it alone, didn't touch it, just let it kept rising and fermenting. And then on day 3, we took out half of it, put in half a cup of flour and a 1/4 cup of warm water. And then we repeated that from day 3 to day 14, half a cup of flour, 1/4 cup of water, after removing half of the starter. And I think it was about day 5 it started smelling pretty good and get bubbly. Day 7 it was definitely a starter that was usable. And now we are here at day 14, and we have some good starter. You can have a couple of jars, an old salsa jar or spaghetti sauce jar. This is a jelly jar that we've cleaned to reuse. You can save one, gift one to a friend. I always like to have a backup, because once you start cooking and you use it, sometimes, like one of my favorite recipes, you cook over it, you get it all started, and then the night before, and then you get it ready that day. And sometimes, every now and again, you forget to get more starter out. So it's always nice to have a backup, and then you always have a backup gift too, which 'tis the season, right? So go ahead and get that scraped out and get all the good stuff in those jars. Then I'll go ahead and throw that in the dishwasher, save it for another time, or you can keep your starter in there if you want. Since we did so much mixing and it got kind of messy up top, I definitely want to clean it. Then I'm just going to take a little bit of saran wrap and just set it on top of the jar there, so it gives a little bit of airspace. And then go ahead and tighten it like that. Then I'll do the same over here. So we've got 2 here, and then I'm gonna grab, all right, I grabbed a couple of my dissolving labels from our canning kit. I'm gonna go ahead and set those on here so I label it, know what it is, and voila. So there we go. In 14 days with less than 5 minutes a day, we've officially created some sourdough starter. So if you've tried it, I'd love to hear it. If you had things that worked, didn't work, let's chat about it. And otherwise, happy sourdough.